I'm AC Brown, and you're listening to Is My Aura On Straight, a podcast designed to help you start living from your core instead of your conditioning. Each week, we'll discuss topics ranging from human design, astrology, metaphysics, spiritual self-development, and everything in between. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Is My Aura On Straight. I'm your host, AC Brown. I'm your spiritual doula, intuitive strategist, and human design expert, and I'm also an entrepreneur. Thank you so much for tuning back into episode number 2. And this episode, we're going to be focusing on the art of the strategy. And your strategy is so important. So many people ask me, what is your strategy? What does that mean? Or you are searching around on Al Gore's internet and you're Googling and you come across strategy and you have questions about your strategy. You know your aura type, but what does it mean for your strategy? Well, your strategy is probably the most important thing in your human design chart because it gives you the key tools to make the right choices for you and how to recognize and make sure that you're on the right path by following your strategy. Because your strategy gives you opportunities to experience different circumstances and events for you while making sure you're aligned with your truth and with your core toward your personal destiny. So your strategy is really important for 3 main reasons. Some of the 3 main reasons that your strategy is important is, number 1, that it defines how you need to move in order to produce with the least amount of resistance. Now, one thing that I love about human design is that your strategy really gives you that blueprint so you don't have any resistance when it comes to making decisions. And if you listen to the last episode, I have a new analogy of what human design is compared to astrology. And human design is New York City, if you want to look at it as the hub, Manhattan, that island, and human design is the subway system on how to get to either different boroughs or to Manhattan. And so what your strategy does, if we're going to look at it as the subway system, it maps out your way to your destinations. It gives you the right tools so you can get there without any resistance. Now, of course, life happens. There'll be things that, occur. And I'm not saying that, it just guarantees there'll be no resistance. No, it just guarantees that you'll have the least amount of resistance. And then number 2, what it does is it assists in releasing approaches that you may already been using that are counterproductive to your progress. For instance, and I'll get more into this, but as a projector, I'm here to wait for the invitation and to wait to be invited. So me just doing it like maybe a manifestor strategy won't work for me in most cases. And we'll talk about that. And then number 3, it solidifies how you should build your circle, your team, or your organization. Your strategy is really important in building the different dynamics around your life, whether it's relationships, either, social, just family, romantic, etc. So what are the strategies? So the strategies are approaches within the human design formula, used to reveal the how. So, like I always say about, human design being an IKEA bookshelf or bookcase, I want to take it a little bit further. The strategies are really the images on the instructions meant to help you once you realize that the instructions are written in Dutch. Because a lot of people don't realize that the IKEA instructions are written in Dutch, but because we have the pictures, we don't really pay attention to that. So the strategies show you how to put things together in your life or business, like I said before. So what are the basic strategies? So every aura type has a strategy, and I'm going to run down them, and then I'll circle back, and then we're going to talk about them more in depth. So for generators, my pure generators, their strategy is to respond, then act, For manifesting generators, they have a little bit different. They're here to respond, imagine, inform, and then act. For my fellow projectors, we are here to be invited or wait for the invitation and then act. That is a challenge for most projectors, and we'll talk about that. And for my manifestors, you are here to inform and then act. And then for my reflectors, you're supposed to wait 28 days, at least 28 days, and then act. But there are some tips, some tricks on not having to wait that long. So let's start with my lovely, lovely generators. Generators, you're here to respond, then act. So what does that mean, to respond? You are here to respond to life, to respond to, and I'm not saying just sit around and not do anything, but in a way, it's more allow life to happen to you in all situations. I like to use, and you've probably seen this online, but it's the easiest way to explain it for your strategy when it comes to being a generator. And as you know, as a generator, your life purpose is to master something, mastery over time, and to build something while you're here in this lifetime. So for instance, as a generator, I'll use the vacation scenario because that's very popular in human design. You are thinking about a vacation, you want to go on vacation. And then all of a sudden you are driving down the road and you see a sign, half price tickets to Jamaica. And then you're like, okay, that's an external, kind of thing. And then the next day you go to work and the HR lady comes over to you and she's like, hey girl, you have 10 days. You need to, well, she wouldn't say, hey girl, because she's the HR. If I was the HR person, I'd be like, hey girl, but I'm not. So, but she comes over to you and she said, you have 10 days that you need to use, within the next 2 months, so you're going to lose them. Maybe you should go on vacation. And then let's say a week later, you went to go to the doctor and your blood pressure's a little high because you've been stressed out. And then the doctor says, you know what, you should go on vacation. That is an external thing for you to respond to as a generator. And then you say, I want to go on vacation. So being a generator, your strategy is really about looking for signs and clues for the universe to provide you with things to respond to. Now, what happens with generators is that on your way to mastering something, living your life, you will unfortunately feel like nothing's happening and you don't have anything to respond to. But I always tell generators that when you're in alignment, you get things to respond to all the time. And that's why as a generator, it is so important to know what you want. If you don't know what you want, how can you respond to anything? If you're just like, well, I don't know if I want to be a doctor, or I don't know if I just want to be a physician's assistant. I don't know if I, want to be an attorney, or if I just want to be a paralegal. So those type of situations where you're constantly in a struggle to saying, oh, I don't get anything to respond to. I don't have anything to respond to. Life's not lining up the way I want it to. It's because you don't know what you want. So that's the first step as being a generator. And when it comes to living out your strategy, is figure out what the fuck you want. And I tell generator clients all the time, even when it comes down to the simplest of things, do you like ice cream? Yes or no? Do you like nature? Yes or no? Do you like walks in the park? Yes or no? And if you don't, then that's something that you don't like, and you're clear on that. So when those things come up and someone's like, oh, we're going camping, you want to come? You're like, no, because I don't like nature. It's really that simple for you all. So that's for pure generators. For manifesting generators, it's a little bit different because yes, your life purpose is to build, but your strategy is to respond, imagine, inform, and then act, because you're here to find shortcuts to mastery. And so what that means is that you can essentially, because you're a little bit manifester, but you're mostly generator. I always tell manifesting generators, I call you guys, it's like you guys have like a magic wand that you can just wave and make things happen. And if manifesting generators really, really embrace the power of their mind and visualization and their mental state, they're able to truly create the life that they want. And I'm going to get into that on another podcast that's strictly for manifesting generators. But as far as your strategy is concerned, manifesting generators are able to internally say what they want, call it into them, and then respond to that. So that's why the whole respond, imagine, inform, then act. So they're able to, all right, let's use the vacation scenario again. They're able to visualize maybe going to a specific place, saying that they want to go to Bali and they have a specific hotel that they want to go to and they want to stay at. It's their dream place. And then they're visualizing it and they're closing their eyes every day. And they're like, oh, I want to go to Bali. I want to stay at this place. And then all of a sudden a friend says to them, oh, me and a group of girlfriends, we're going to Bali. And guess what? We're staying at such and such. And it's the same place that they've been visualizing and dreaming about. So now the manifesting generator gets to say and respond to and say, yes, I want to go. And they're informing them, I'm coming on that trip with you. And then they're letting everybody in their life know, like, hey, I'm going to Bali. I'm staying at this amazing location. And that's what their strategy looks like. I'm using vacations because that's, the best thing to use it for. And then you have projectors. Now, this is a little bit different. So projectors thinking the same thing. I want to go to Bali. Oh, I wish I could go to Bali. Because our strategy is to wait to be invited or wait to be seen or recognized. So there's a bunch of group of manifesting generators going on a trip to Bali, and they have a projector friend, and that they know the projector friend needs a vacation because the projector friend's been just sad and stressed out about stuff. And then they say, hey, projector girlfriend, do you want to go to Bali with us? And the projector has thought about going on vacation. She's looked up stuff, not really, but her internal clock is just like, oh, you need a vacation. Bali would be nice. And then she gets invited to Bali. It just happens out of the blue. And then at that time, though, for a projector, because when it comes to invitations, once we have the invitation, it's ours to do with it. Same thing with all of the other strategies. Once you have something to respond to, it's yours to do with. You don't have to respond to it or anything. But for projectors, it's really, really different. Is because once we have the invitation, we can deny it. And then next time you go to Bali, we can just say, hey, I'm coming to Bali with you guys next time. And it'll still be fine. So the projector friend says, okay, I'm going to go to Bali. And they got an invitation to go to Bali. And so they go. And then you have the manifester. The manifester out of the group is like, we're going to Bali, ladies. Pack your bags. I'm planning the trip. We're staying at this place. And then it's going to be from these dates. And make sure you have your plane ticket. And that's what a manifester does. They're the trip planner. They're like, I'm planning the trip. It's either you coming or you not. Regardless of anybody else's aura type, the manifestor is going on the vacation. And then you have reflectors. Reflectors are a little bit different. They have two choices. They can either say, when it comes to a strat, like, oh, I need to think about it because, money's a little tight, or I might not be able to go. So they might take not a full 28 days, but they might take two weeks to think about it. Or they can just mirror somebody in the group and be like, you know what, I'm just going to go. Such and such MG is going, manifesting generator is going. I'm going to just go on the trip. So that, I hope that made sense to everybody listening. I like to use analogies a lot. So if you're going to listen to this podcast, just get ready for a bunch of analogies. I talk in analogies. It's the way that I understand and that I help other people understand. So that's how your strategy works. And how it works in your favor is that the strategy helps you bypass a great deal of trial and error. So you won't be able to get around all the mistakes, but the strategies can significantly decrease your mistakes. The strategies help you save time, and you can put your energy into something that you know will work for you. So when it comes to waiting for something to respond to while you're building your mastery as a generator, You just work on your mastery, and you just figure out the things that you like, figure out the things that you don't like. For my manifesting generators, while you're finding shortcuts to mastery, the same thing. You can multitask and do multiple things at different times, and which is good for you so you don't get bored. For my projectors, in the meantime, while you're waiting for those big Bali vacation invitations, you are following your bliss. And I'm going to talk about that in some aura type specific podcasts, what following your bliss means and all of that, because everybody should be mastering something on some level, but it's just different approaches for each aura type. And then for my manifestors, like I said, you're planning the trip, you are informing, you are making the reservations, you're booking out the hotels, you're figuring out where we're brunching at while we're in Bali, you're doing all the activity schedules, because you're initiating and you're informing. And then reflectors, you're really just mirroring and going with the flow once you decide whether or not you're going to show up. So that's how the strategies work. If you want some more in-depth information specifically on the strategies, I have a mini course called The Art of the Strategy. It's a really quick mini course, but I break down everything from what is responding to acting to imagining, informing, guiding, directing, waiting, and every single part of the strategy. I break that down. And you can either go to my website and click on the courses, or you can go to my Instagram and you can see the little link in the bio for The Art of the Strategy. And it's a real quick course and it tells you about all of the strategies and it breaks it down for each aura type. So that's the art of the strategy, but we have a Help My Aura question. Now, Help My Aura is going to be a segment where I help someone's aura type, and you can write in whether it's a life or business, and you can get your question answered, and I'll answer it to the best of my ability. You don't have to send your chart if you don't want to. If you want to send your chart or send me your birth information, please do so I can have a look at your chart and I can answer the question based off your chart. This person didn't send it in, so I'm just gonna, answer the question the best way I can. So here is the first Help My Aura. So, dear AC, I'm in my early 30s and I'm a pure generator. Finally figured out what I want to master, and I want to become an interior designer. I've already finished undergrad and I'm thinking about going back to school to do some type of interior design certificate. I'm just reading verbatim. I'm sorry, guys. I also interned for a well-known designer in my area, and I've been learning a lot. My issue is that I've heard you reference something called a plateau, and I think that's what I'm in. My mentor has a set of clients, and most of them have the same aesthetic, but I want to do something totally different. I've learned about the business side of interior design, but I'm ready to break out on my own. I've been networking, and a few people are willing to take a chance on me with designing small projects. I'm nervous, but what do you suggest? This is a great question. This is the only question I have so far, but it's in line with what we're talking about today, strategy and also mastery for a pure generator. So because she is a pure generator and she's decided that she wants to master something, which is interior design, I'm just going to assume she already has her undergrad in something else that probably has nothing to do with interior design. And she wants to go back to possibly get certifications. I don't know how it works in interior design, if you get like a master's in it or certifications or whatever, but I'm sure there's levels to interior design. So she wants to go back to school, and she's gotten opportunities to do small projects, but she's nervous. So what do I suggest? Well, since she's a pure generator and she's willing and she's already said, hey, I want to master interior design, and that's what my mastery is, that's what I know what I want to do, I would, number one, suggest going and getting those certifications to help her level up her mastery. When it comes to mastering things as pure generators, you have to really look at the long haul. And when it comes to career, you really have to look at what the top of the top in that career is. Now, interior design, it might have her, being an Architectural Digest, or being one of the highly sought after for celebrities. Whatever her level of mastery is, that's what she needs to go and attain. Now, the good thing is that she is in alignment because people are already starting to ask her externally to work on small projects. So that's super important for her to recognize. So I hope you're listening. It's super important for you to recognize, because as a pure generator, that's how generators lead their lives and figure out their purpose. You figure out what people ask you to do, what external invitations you get from people, so you can respond to those things. So people are saying, hell, oh, you're into design. Let's work on, they're probably, a bathroom or a kitchen. Well, not kitchen's kind of big. So maybe a bathroom or a bedroom or something like that, where there's small projects where she can, learn her craft more. So I say, my suggestion is to keep on going at it, to definitely go into getting the certifications or the schooling to become the best in your field, to learn from other industry experts. I would also suggest doing some Googles on Al Gore's internet, and looking at some of the interior designers who you do admire, and see if they offer workshops or training, because a lot of them do. They have their own platforms where you can go learn different techniques, different design stuff. I would even look for a design show and apply for that. What the hell? Like, why not? So those are things that you can do to master interior design. It doesn't have to necessarily be school. It can just be mastering networking within the interior design community, finding your niche so you can build up your clientele, etc. So I hope that helps when you listen to it, but good luck on your interior design journey, and thank you for writing in. I feel special. And if you have a question and you want me to help your aura, like I said, shoot me an email at hello@acbrown.com. Put help my aura in the subject line, and you can either send me your birth information and I can pull up your chart, or you can just ask me a question, and if you know your aura type and the aura types of the other people involved, that would be great. And I will answer it on this podcast. So next up on the next episodes, I'm going to be talking about aura types specifically. So we're going to be going through a whole podcast on generators, whole podcast on manifesting generators, projectors, manifestors, reflectors. And if you do have questions, please write in so I can answer them on those specific aura type podcasts, because that would be really cool. And if you're not that aura type, I would listen to the podcast anyway, not just for me, but because you might have someone in your life that you're trying to understand. And that is really the great thing about human design, is that when it comes to these personality tests and these spiritual personality tools, we get so caught up sometimes with me. What am I? How do I act? What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to live my life? And then you sort of you forget about the people in your life who are not like you, and you miss the opportunity to learn more about them and how to interact with them. Especially for my non-sacral energies, manifestors, projectors, and reflectors, we do get a little bit caught up in me. What about me? But sometimes it's better to learn about your generator spouse, or your generator mother, or your generator boss, or your manifesting generator coworker, and see how to interact with them so you can better prepare yourself for the things that might annoy you, or for the challenges and for some of the successes that you guys can accomplish together. So just keep that in mind when the podcasts start rolling out for aura types specifically. But thank you so much for listening to another episode of Is My Aura on Straight. Definitely subscribe to the podcast. Definitely go on Instagram and like my page, and definitely send me an email if you have any questions or you just want to say what's up. So until next time, have an amazing week. Thank you for listening to another episode of Is My Aura on Straight? Make sure you follow me on Instagram at AC Brown, and also check out my website for products and services at www.acbrown.com. And until we meet again, make sure you have a great week filled with good vibes and good energy.